It's now just 4:46. I'll call the meeting to order. You had the prospective agenda passed out to you ahead of time. Does anybody want to change anything on the agenda or add anything to it?
Yes, Steve, I do have a couple of more special event applications from the Lions for the Fisherman's
There were
Picnic.
like 4 of them, weren't there? 5?
For busking, but we got some actual event applications. For
Right.
Fisherman's and for Stars of the North Music Festival.
Okay,
So we'll address those under special event applications.
okay.
Yeah, I know those weren't included in the mail one, but they were in the email.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have those ones. 'cause I
Does
just have the
anybody
mailed
else
one.
have additions to the agenda besides the other additional special event applications? Hearing no suggestions, I will deem it unanimously approved that the agenda is approved. The May minutes, anybody have any suggestions for differences?
Nope.
I was mildly disappointed not to be able to participate in the discussion of the golf course policies, but I'll live with them until I think about it more. Anybody else have any thoughts about the minutes as they've been distributed? Hearing nothing, I ask unanimous consent that the minutes be approved. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Golf report. I don't see Paul. Is there a written report or is there anything to report?
I was expecting Paul. I'll send him a text.
I'm sorry, a little louder.
I was expecting Paul. We have nothing in writing, but I'll send
Okay.
him a text.
Well, maybe he will.
It's open.
He will yet come. We'll defer that
I see
report
people
until
golfing.
later.
Golf course?
Yeah.
I can tell you that I played there
There we go.
a couple of times since it's opened. The course is in quite good shape for the time of the year, and the amount of water that was sitting on it is now pretty well dried out finally. And we had our first match of the Senior Golf League today, Dave Sari and I, and we won by 4 holes, or 4 points. So we're very happy. If we can win by 4 points every time, we'll be in the big money. Are there any other thoughts about the minutes?
About the golf course, I could give a brief update. I know Paul's been working on a couple of damaged areas of winter kill on, I believe, number 4 and number 9. Greens were, pretty significantly.
But they've managed to make it very puttable.
Yep, he's got playable surface, but he's in the process of verticutting and seeding and nurturing some new greens on
Okay.
number 4 and number 9.
All right, there's also some trees down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how about that big tree he was talking about?
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten to that yet.
The big tree that I hope we can do something with that broke. There's a great big stump left below where it broke off, and I'm hoping we can get some chainsaw artist to come up there and at least make a chair, maybe even, a bear or a moose or something. Is that something you might look into?
This is a novelty idea. I can look into it.
That'd be great. Any objections to thoughts about that, making use of the stump? Okay. Well, we'll defer the rest of the golf discussion until Paul comes. Craig, you have a report from the city council?
The only thing that we did talk about was.
Pull that mic over by you, will you, a little bit? Thank you.
The one thing that was on the agenda was we had the one bid came through earlier this month for the community connector project. LHB opened the bid. The amount of the bid was $515,000, which is substantially higher than the project estimate of $300,000. So the city council rejected this bid, and I guess we're gonna have to proceed on a different, either trying to get other bids or doing the project in different phases with local contractors if we can, to try to figure out how to somehow put this project together at a lesser amount of money if we can. So that's all we had on the agenda as far as the city was concerned. That really referred to the park. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts about the city council report before we move on?
So is that on our agenda for today under new business?
Well, it's in my parks report.
Okay,
It's the last thing we can,
Okay.
I missed
okay.
that.
yeah,
I'm just gonna keep that.
part of my parks report is talking
Right.
about the landing and the community connection
Right.
and our options and
Right.
what we should do next.
So,
Well, why don't we move to the parks report then?
Yeah, does
Seems
anyone
like
need a
nice-
copy?
Yes.
I would like one. I read it online, but I like to have the hard copy in my notebook.
This has to go in the pile on top.
In the notebook.
It's gotta go, you'll put it in your pile.
That's why I punch it.
I love it.
Right.
I suppose that firewood sales go up when the temperature goes down.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's been May. Cool, wet. Few cancellations, but busy. Money finished strong for May. Relative to last year, we were up. A lot of seasonals paying in full. It's kind of the trend for May. You know, business is good despite the weather. Memorial Day weekend is obviously kind of a wet, cool one. We had several cancellations. I would say maybe up to 20 or so canceled for the Memorial weekend. The bike race was a draw. We had a lot of tent bike campers. Of course, the mud was significant after the race. The bathhouses were in a really tough spot with mud up to the ceilings, and our crew did a good job hosing them down. But yeah, we're off to a good start. We got great staff. The summer, what would be like school kids are back. We've got some, a seasonal camper who's back, who's working in the office, so we're pretty well staffed up. We've got a good crew.
Does it look like we're on track to equal last year or do better?
Too early to tell,
Too early to
especially
tell.
with the fuel pricing and weather being a big, big factor.
Let's see, what month are we doing reservations now for?
We're open for all of them, so I
Okay.
mean, based on reservations, we're looking very good, very full.
Okay.
But the trend is cancellations with.
Oh, really?
With fuel pricing
Is that,
and weather.
is there a general or a specific cause for cancellations?
Fuel price and weather,
Oh, just the weather you're saying?
and the price of gas
Oh,
and
okay.
diesel.
I guess people do have to get here.
Yeah, and the big, rigs that are, getting not so good a mileage are pretty affected by the price of fuel, so.
Sure.
A lot of folks that were on like a circle tour or, traveling the nation, I think are scaling back.
Are the people who are here year-round showing up?
Yeah, seasonals are steady and
Okay.
mostly all back, but there's some mid-June arrivals still. A couple of rare July, August people, but the Canadians are back. Seasonal Canadians are back. Kind of had a fun Victoria Day weekend, prior to Memorial Day is their weekend, the 17th, and saw a lot of Canadians that we hadn't seen for 2
Couple of
years.
yeah.
So what is your cancellation policy?
So we take a $40 deposit on the total stay. 10 of that's always non-refundable reservation fee.
$10?
Yeah, but we keep the whole 40 if they cancel within 2 weeks of the arrival date. If it's 2 weeks or more notice, they get $30 back.
Do you feel like are you losing business? I mean, turning people away?
Usually if we cancel, it gets filled pretty quick.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I mean, you might be turning people away who call and want a reservation, but you're already full. But I mean, I probably canceled 8 to 10 things this morning, and they're back to being mostly full for
Oh, good.
they book up because it's online and it's real time and shows
Uh-huh.
right back up.
Uh-huh. That's good.
Any other issues you want to let us know about or think about?
Well, we got the report here from KGM and the contractors down at the Parkside Boat Launch Project, right? That's back underway. I don't know if you've noticed the big crane is down there. They're installing temporary sheet piling around the basin where the new concrete ramp will be formed and poured in what would be water, but they're gonna pump out the little bit of retained area there. So it's pretty sophisticated process where
Yeah.
they're dewatering is what it's known as. But, so there'll be a temporary sheet piling curtain that's, I think, about half in place right now, about 50 to 75 feet offshore. And they'll pump out the water that's in the ramp zone. They pump it actually into a swale, like a settling basin up by the water treatment plant. And then it'll just, filter back into the wetlands. But they've installed like erosion control and the siltation curtain out in the bay even for all their best practices. But soon, once that's dewatered, the concrete crew will show up and form up a new ramp and sidewalks, and the concrete work will be first in the water. And they're working basically from the water's edge to the west, to the parking lot area. And so timeline on that is looking optimistic that it's maybe a 2-month, June, July is kind of what I've seen tracked out on KGM's construction timeline. The contract calls for substantial completion by August 31st. So that's the real date that we're telling the public when it'll be close to done. Final completion, is September 29th. And so those are kind of the two dates to keep in mind for when this project will be done. Substantially complete by the end of August, hopefully earlier, but complete by September 29th.
Maybe weather permitting, we could hold our October meeting somewhere at the park and take a look at the finished project.
That's a good idea. I'm certain we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony that I would expect all of you to be invited to, and I would think another opportunity to be down there and see the project firsthand. But because this is with the state and the DNR, and there's many partners on this, and they're all excited about it. It's a very high-profile project in Grand Marais, in the harbor. We're certain to have some, whatever pomp and circumstance around the opening, and that would be in September. So.
Okay?
What's the deadline for the, the parking lot's going to be paved, right?
Correct.
And so 2 questions. One, when is that supposed to happen?
Late July, according to the timeline.
Okay. The other one is a concern from a community member. When they found out I was on the park board, they were asking if that parking lot was going to be paved, and they were just like, really against paving with the water runoff and all that. And so I just said, well, I'll just, I know it's a done deal,
Sure.
but
What
was there consideration
So how I
about?
responded to that is that I know pavement, it's impervious, and we early on took that into account and took this idea that, what if we did semi-permeable asphalt and, some of the newer techniques, and the expense is just unfeasible for a lot this size. And so it was long-term maintenance costs, but it was also stormwater management, and best practice for this is to actually capture those liquids that are going to be in that parking lot, because there's going to be oils and greases from the boats and the vehicles, and to filter that through bioswales and vegetative buffers that are going to treat that stormwater. That parking lot water will be treated with scientific stormwater management. That it makes sense to me as a layperson, but seeing the engineers lay it out, it really makes sense that it is counterintuitive, but a paved parking lot with proper stormwater management is much healthier than a gravel lot that's eroding into the bay.
Great.
Will the same
Great.
approach be taken when you pave the road?
The road paving is still yet to be determined, but, it's already paved.
Yeah.
It's just an overlay.
Are there any water management issues arising from that road?
We don't anticipate that. But again, we'll have LHB, our engineering firm, draw up the engineered plans for the overlay. Just like we talked about at the last meeting, which I know you weren't here.
Yeah.
But
I
we
read
got this
minutes.
grant money to repave the road that connects the lot to the highway, 8th Avenue South. And it was like $110,000. But it turns out, because it's MnDOT money, state aid road money has to follow all these check boxes of engineering, and it's a simple overlay, right? It's not a new road, it's not a new construction, it's just a 2-inch overlay. Very common treatment for our park roads. We've done this on other roads down there without any review, when we just spend our own money. But because this involves state aid grant money, we need to go through the engineered road process of, yeah, is it the right slope off, crowned, and are the shoulders wide enough, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a longer process, it's, pricey, it might actually turn out that we won't take that state aid grant, because it'll cost us more to do it the state's way
Oh,
than just to put a 2-inch overlay on.
huh.
Something we talked about last month, but it's not gonna get repaid this season is the conclusion we've heard from LHB and that grant.
So I got just a couple questions. The first one is just concerning cleaning stations. Is there like a boat cleaning station or a fish cleaning station?
So there's a like AIS stall, a designated, like as you're pulling out kind of by the group camping corner where those pine trees are, is like a strap down drain and clean stall. As of now, there's no pressurized water or sanitary sewer drain associated with that stall. So it's kind of what we currently have down there as far as, pull the plug and make sure everything's drained.
So they can drain everything out, but
Yeah.
not clean it, okay.
Yeah. And again, that water will be captured and, treated with the biofiltration. But, so there'll be designated AIS stall, but not a like wash down machine with a
Right.
sanitary drain that would have to capture that, the rinse water. Fish cleaning station is gonna remain in the marina, right? We've always only
Yeah.
had the capacity to offer and maintain one fish cleaning station. It'll continue to be at the marina, which is, I think, pretty common to see folks come over from that launch to the marina. There's usually enough parking and access there, so.
Right, and then my other question was just, when they pour you talked about pouring the concrete in, so are they pouring in, are they making docks, or are you still gonna be putting docks in and out every year?
Still have rolling docks.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just pouring the concrete ramp itself.
But
Yeah.
that will include how you roll the docks out onto that?
Yeah,
There's
they'll
a
have the
concrete
apron
ramp?
and the accessible sidewalk up to the docks. It'll include the portion for the non-motorized, kayak and canoe launch.
Yeah.
That'll have its own little concrete apron as well.
So are they new docks, or are they using the same
New
ones?
docks.
New docks.
New docks. We've repurposed the two that had been there. There's, two 30-footers that had been there. They're currently at work in the municipal marina now for seasonal boat slips.
Right, is one by the fish house there? Is that one
Both
of them?
are.
Nice.
The fish house, that's the subject of still some controversy, we understand.
No,
Not our
not
fish.
that
He's
one.
talking fish cleaning shack
I'm talking the fish cleaning shack right at the,
at the marina.
Not the one by the north.
no,
No,
not that
no,
one.
That's
No.
not our problem.
Do we have any ore in that game at all?
No,
No.
don't go there.
Just
Just
because it's
stay
by the
away
harbor
from it.
doesn't mean that we're gonna get involved, okay? One other question. I'm presuming that the design of the parking lot affects the control of the water to go where you want it to go,
That's right, away from the lake,
okay?
through the stormwater train.
Any other thoughts about the Parks report?
And now we got the real bread and butter
yeah.
here,
Right,
what Craig touched on, the overlook, the landing, right, the deck we were planning up in the connection corner next to the folk school with the arbor. Just like Craig reported, we got one bid for that. It was kind of a slap in the face, $515,000. We budgeted $300,000.